Hello everyone, I have here the Record Store modular set from the company that has an unfortunate name that you see in the title. They're changing the name of the company in 2025, but for now, it is what it is. This comes with 1,980 pieces. The retail price is $135 US, but I got it for $105 because they do sales and automatically applied coupons like all the time. The whole thing is built on a 32 by 32 plate base, not base plate, but plate down there, but standard 32 by 32 square. And it's inspired by the very, very early 1990s American hip hop music scene, which sounds oddly specific, and it is. And yet somehow they did manage to capture that scene with surprising reverence. There are 6 figures included here, and we'll look at those after the building. Here's a quick look with my lights turned down so you can better see how the interior illumination comes through the windows and also some of the exterior little spotlights and area lights. You don't need to have all the lights in your room turned off to be able to appreciate this. Just having any light on the inside allows you to see those details without taking the whole thing apart. Here it is from the other side as well. A quick look at the next level up as well, which also has illumination inside, and you can also see in through the windows over here a bit. And then for the sort of balcony up here, there's one exterior light. The roof has a couple lights for the signage up there, the billboard. The upper floor has lights on the inside as well. And let me go ahead and turn the lights back on in the room so we can really start to look at the details. Let me finish spinning this around so you can see it from some of the less camera-friendly angles. I mean, it still doesn't look bad around the back. It's just more plain. It doesn't have as many details. Still some windows, though, to be able to see inside. When I'm reviewing these things, this is an unusual situation for me as a reviewer as opposed to just a consumer. I have to go through these so frequently I get tired of swapping out batteries between different ones. So I will most of the time be using my own USB power pack, just a little external thing, just regular thing. This can be hooked up to USB if you want to go that way, including just, taking power from the mains through a USB hub, or you can use the included 3AA little battery box, which is intended to be attached here, but you can also remove that, put it wherever you want. All right, let's look at some of the details. Under full lights, this has over 90 printed pieces and 15 LEDs. So anything that you see that is a decoration, even the smallest things, even the biggest things, those are all prints. Sort of seeing as a combination of pad prints and UV prints. I mean, just look in through the windows to see a lot of it. Some of it's on the outside as well. A lot of these things that have decorations that span multiple parts are assembled first at the factory before they print them, so that the prints will all line up from one to the next. And the prints also go edge to edge. In this case right here, there's a slight little gap just because they've used genuine pieces, actual parts over here for the left half of the record, just to get that curve in there, just to basically to try to use just the plastic pieces as much as reasonably possible. They're a little bit lacking in number of studs, in my personal opinion, to attach like minifigure feet to. I would like to see more studs actually available on the outside to attach people to more permanently. Otherwise, no matter what type of figure you're using, any sort of little vibration in the floor is going to cause them just to fall over. The ATM build is brilliant. I mean, it has an exclusive set of prints for that, but it's just so small and it looks really, really good. You got some graffiti being painted up over here. Here's one thing that I did have an issue with this set. The sign up here, this one has a single LED inside of it that is very, very bright and has to face out in order to illuminate the sign itself. Otherwise, it will just kind of point down. So it's providing some light down here, but mostly into this printed piece here. And the wires for that were just really, really short. I ended up pulling off the outside of this and leaving just the plate behind in order to get that tightly connected in there. I'm not the only person who's had an issue with that. I think they went just a little bit too tight, a little bit too short with some of the wires throughout this, not just in that one spot. So I had to be a little bit extra careful to be sure to route everything carefully around. Hopefully they will not continue that trend. They'll go back a little bit. Previously, they had a little bit too much extra wire, and they've been trying to tighten that up, and I think they went just a tiny bit too far. I love the recolor of this piece right here into just a plain trans clear. It's a fantastic part to have. It gives you a little feeling of old aluminum style horizontal Venetian blinds there. Does a really good job of it. I like that this company brings back a lot of pieces that we don't see today anymore from other companies, or they recolor them in ways that we've never seen before. The level of detail on the outside, I think, is perfectly fine. You got another balcony up here, got a mezzanine really up here, so you can put figures up in this area. No lights in this overhang. You can open these doors. No lights on the club sign off there to the left, and this does use 4 different square kind of sign pieces there. I like the use of the different colors of windows there. Again, around the back, it's relatively flat. You're not seeing a whole lot. I am trying to move relatively quickly to get through the exterior details here because there are so many interior details to see. That's really where most of your value is, including all the lighted stuff and a lot of the prints. But I just want to give you a general overview of this, just so that you can look upon it with your own eyes. I don't like this AC unit here. The shape of it is nice, but it needs more color. It needs some darkness behind there. It ends up just looking too ghostly. Pretty nice details up here, including the use of hinge pieces where things aren't even going to hinge at all. The fire escape is continuous all the way from the ground, so it lets you get access for your figures going all the way up and down as needed. And then finally, all the way up at the top, the roof has this large billboard, which has the 2 pieces on it that is UV printed there. A couple of little LED lights facing up to it to keep it illuminated at all times. And otherwise, we're just pretty much flat up here. Now for the good stuff. I intentionally skipped one exterior detail here. This little pop-up DJ table with a fan next to it. I'll show you that. Not a whole lot to see with it, but it's a cool little thing. Also has the prints for the little records there, a little can off to the side of soda, and the fan is done pretty nicely. But this is integral to one of the major things that you can do to see the inside of this, because these right here are hinges, and with that little bit of plate removed from the back, I can now do this and open the entire building up 90 degrees. This is unprecedented access to the interior of a modular building. I love this. This is what I want to always see. Unlike with their balcony theater where you had all sorts of weird doors, some of them hinged different amounts, and then some things would slide out and you had to do transformations. No, you just open the building up and then you can see inside of it. Just like that. It's so hassle-free and just so convenient. But that's not even the full story yet. It gets even more hassle-free and more convenient than this, because now we want to see inside of here, and you can. But if you want to see even better, just do that. That. I can see around the back from the side of the wall, where the wall was. I can see in there. I can see the little details down here that I couldn't see quite so easily from this side. I could see these records that are facing towards the back wall that I couldn't see otherwise. What the heck? Look at this. You can see the cash register and the amount that's on there. Wow, $150 in early 1990. That's a lot. This is great. I can pull these up. I can get access to them. I can see all the album art. Because, well, they're just smart like that, and they're getting smarter. Not all of their products have had perfect access to everything, but this is definitely the best to date. And yeah, I'm gushing about it. I am being excessively positive about it because that is how I feel about this. This is what I've wanted companies to do for the longest time, to just make it easy for viewers and owners, we pay for these things, to see the stuff that we paid for and that we spent hours building as well. These guys finally did it. Next level up. Okay, you can see some interior detail here. That's great, right? Well, I want to see more. So let me see more. Recording studio in use. Okay. You can see the computer out here with a nice old CRT monitor, which is appropriate. And then you can look on the inside. Look, you didn't see that those were there before, did you? No. Got a keyboard over here. Look at this. Look at that. You can see all that stuff. Even underneath the little storage cabinet underneath the stairs. Typically stuff like that, you're barely going to be able to see stuff like that after you build a building. But this just makes it easy to see all of that. And there's still more. Look, inside, there's still more in the back, along the back wall of the studio. Now, you can't see some of this stuff through the outside windows, but being able to see it here like this is even better. But it gets better. It gets better than that. Trust me, it gets better than that. You can get better access to even that. This obviously has a little area that you can slide out as well. But first, before you slide that out, you can just see inside the apartment from the outside. So you don't even need to take anything apart. You don't even need to swing it open. You don't need to swing the outside open to get there, to get to this level. But then if you want to see more, again, slide this out and look more closely. If I can get it to focus, there we go. Look, they even have a FunWhole set there. An actual, sorry, I like things like that. An actual FunWhole set. It's already been partially opened, so they've got the electronics box over there. That's good that they're starting to do their own little in references. Okay, there's not a whole lot going on with this. A lot of floor space, but some of that floor space is shared by spaces that get all of that. So people would be standing up there, in the kitchen, using the kitchen and such. That TV over there, I need to show you more about that TV, because if it looks like it's glowing, that's because it is. I said there's more to the convenience of accessing things. You can still remove the roof and each floor to the main part of this building. And they do use contact connectors between the floors to send electricity up. So, we've got wiring going through this. You've seen some of the little wires, and they are routed still like this company always does, mostly through bricks. So you're not seeing the wires on the outside for the most part, but where you need to be able to remove an entire floor, an entire level, you can see like right over here, there are a pair of parts, and that's where there's a contact, just a touch contact. This is one thing that they do poorly. Let me see if I can actually demonstrate that. If I pull it up from this side, see, if I pull it up from across the short side of this piece, it's a 1x4 piece, it starts to separate the wrong way. You want that upper piece to stay. What you need to do, because unfortunately there's just too much clutch power in those pieces, anywhere you see one of these, always go the opposite direction. So I'm going to lift from the front towards the back, and now it's going to separate properly. They really need to work on that. They just need to remove clutch power from either the upper one or the lower one, so that doesn't happen, so that nobody has to worry about that. Otherwise, if you do pull it out the wrong way, you're going to end up with wires here. You might pull the wires. It's a bad time. But as long as you know the trick, and that is the trick, always go this way. Always go this way with these connectors. It's going to work out okay. So now this is disconnected electrically and physically both. And now you can see better the interior of this. I'll go ahead and slide the floor back in as well. So now you can see more of how the whole entire floor goes together. Like so. See, now it makes a lot more sense. The only thing I don't like here in terms of its overall layout is that access from the stairs below does not give you any safety around the edges. So there are no, there's no banister, there are no railings around the outside of that. That's definitely a miss. They could have added those in, even just as an option, just to make us feel better about the safety of the figures, so they're not risking falling through a hole. But yeah, there is a light inside of the TV itself that's making this old horror show have the glow for the moon and also for the werewolf there. There's also just a little bit of detail on the wall that I removed, the outer little side access panel. Yeah, there are also some things inside the fridge and freezer. Not a lot, but something. This whole floor has its electrical connections to the floor below on that side over there and arranged front to back. So for this one to be separated out safely, I need to rotate the whole thing that way. Remember the trick, always go the short way across so that it doesn't separate wrongly. Oh, and it's still, even with the trick this time, this is what happens. See, it left these behind. So I'm going to put this back and try it again. I'm going to try to not cut here because I really want you to see that flaw that this company does have and how that works out. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful this time, push down really well and keep this layer down, rotate it back. There, that time it broke off. So that's the trick that you need. That's not a trick that you should need to use. I also had that off a little bit. Not a trick you should need to use. Again, that's something that they need to fix going forward. But with that removed, now I'll go ahead and put this floor back in, and you can see more of how the recording studio goes together. So all that equipment that was kind of attached to the back wall is really more integrated than it looked when I had removed the floor here, and access to the storage closet underneath the stairs is back here and stuff. But that's just kind of the overall context. And then finally, to remove this whole level, by the way, real quick, this can also be removed if you want, but now I'm going to need to close things back up, or it's best to close things back up because all of this comes together due to the fact that it does include the hinges in there. So I will pull from here. There we go. And all of that comes together, but I did it the wrong way. See what happened? I needed to rotate it off that way because the connector is over there. I didn't do the trick, so let me try again. The connector parts are right in there. I'm actually going to move this out of the way so you can see it better, and so there's a little bit more room for rotation. I'm really going to push down on this side of the building now and lift the opposite side, hoping that I can keep those together until it kind of breaks off. Not literally breaks, but separates underneath there. Did it work? Nope, still didn't work. This is literally the thing that holds back this entire company's modular system. So get in there, try to separate those out and reattach that piece where it should go under the floor. If you do this without care and you just pull it right up, because that this wire here is still attached, you can pull that out. You can do some serious damage. They need to fix this. Granted, with the way everything else opens up, you can see all of this stuff without taking the floors off. But if you want to take the floors off, I mean, it's designed to be taken off. Most of this is all tiled off and everything. They do show that is a feature. If you want to just see the whole floor like this and then set up your figures looking at the whole thing all together, you should be able to. Yeah. I do like these lights as well. These diffused small light bars, they work really well, give good ambiance. They're also not too blue, thankfully. They're a fairly warm color. And finally, let's take a closer look at the figures. If you like the design of these figures, great. If you don't like the design of these figures because you want all figures to follow this design template, you are in the majority, and that's perfectly fine. But of course, it is not legal for any other company to make figures that look like this because there is legal protection for that design through the trademark system. And thus, this is what this company has come up with for their legal design, to have things that are the size of minifigures and their accessories are compatible and their hands are compatible. Their hands can also rotate. The arms can go up and down. The legs are also separately rotatable. A lot of people think that is not the case for some reason. And technically, there is a little bit of waist articulation in there as well. If you actually pull this up a little bit, you can rotate the waist all the way around. So technically, they have a little bit more articulation than what you're used to. But and the heads turn and everything. Again, the head pieces are able, or the headgear pieces are able to be used on other styles of figures. But yeah, they work fine. They just look different. And the print quality on some of these, honestly, is not where I would like it to be. Like, the color matching in here is not that great. I think this skin tone opacity is okay, but it needed to be more pale than that to match the plastic color. So not ideal. Some prints around the back as well. But yeah, definitely not their highest quality stuff here. This palette of leftover pieces leaves me so confused. As I built it, I started to get the feeling, based on some of the specific pieces included here, that they were trying to give you the option to build this building without any lighting in it. Some of these things are definitely direct replacements for bricks and plates and things that have lights built into them. but I'm not certain about that. I didn't go through the process of inventorying everything and trying to figure out how that would work. If they are moving in that general direction, that's great, because not everybody wants to install light kits. Some people have tried doing light kits for aftermarket light kits for Lego sets, and those absolutely suck much of the time because the process is just awful. It involves pinching wires, and it's just so much vermicelli of wires. It can be awful. And some people just don't have the manual dexterity to use like the included tweezers here to move all the wires around and make sure that, it's not that difficult with the channel bricks that this company includes, but it does require some extra finickiness. And not everybody just even wants to deal with that. So if they do offer the future ability to make these things optionally without lights, I think that'll be a value add if they can do it for just an extra $1 or $2 to the retail price. But here's their brick separator. Here's the little Phillips head screwdriver for opening up the battery box. This is actually an extra piece from the sign that was a temporary part that held the sign parts, the front sign parts together for printing. You get a bunch of extra arms and hands, and I don't know what the red pieces are for. I don't know at all. I feel like this video has already gone on too long, so I will try to summarize quickly again. This is 1,980 pieces for $135 US, suggested retail price if you can find it for that. Otherwise, it's going to be cheaper than that. Again, at least in the US. Full-sized modular, 32 by 32. 90 plus prints, 15 lights, fantastic accessibility, best-in-class accessibility to just appreciate all the stuff that you've built. You can see in through the windows in the first place without opening anything up. Then you've got this whole side that opens up, and then you can slide out the floors. Then you can also take off the floors. Now, the taking off the floors part has that one issue with one of two pieces that I showed you there, but you don't need, thankfully, with this one, you don't even need to access, or you don't even need to use that feature, that method of taking things apart. So all in all, just the value here is incredible. The design is great. The biggest thing that's missing from here is really, really fancy building techniques and nice part usages. It has some nice part usages, but some folks especially are into higher end brick built things, want to see ridiculous, crazy, intricate sub-assemblies that use 500 pieces to create one tiny little thing that looks different than any shape you've ever seen before. And this company just doesn't have that for the most part, most of the time yet. But instead, it costs half as much as the leading brand, with 90 prints, no stickers, and a full set of LED lighting and accessibility to the interior as well. So I'm very, very satisfied with this. They just need to fix one or two pieces and give us a little bit more length than they did in this one for their wires. And just keep iterating, keep trying to get a little bit better at a time, and they're killing it. Very happy with this. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.